but the feeling that you're getting, like you're feeling, if you're all together in church and you really are praising his name, you really are praising the idea of this loving God that wants fellowship and wants camaraderie and brotherhood. Like, whatever that feeling is and whatever that thought is, take out all the words, Jesus Christ and, praise Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad and Allah, and take out all those words. And what is the feeling?
Right.
Like, that feeling is the search for this positive source. Like this thing that ultimately we can all eventually reach if we put aside all of our ridiculous monkey behavior and greed and jealousy and anger and lust and just get to us at our very best. And it's almost like it's like a guide to get you there. But we get tripped up on the words that are attached to the guide, like the word God or the word Muhammad or the word Allah or,
Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna. Go down the line.
And the fucking parasites that latch on to this and start selling shit and, making a power structure around
changing
it. Rules.
Controlling people with it.
Duncan started off talking about how you can recognize someone not just as a spiritually enlightened person, but as just a person you want to hang out with if they are really hard to offend, if they have a good sense of humor. Yeah. If they don't have a sense of humor, there's something wrong, But you think about the Old Testament God. He's the most easily offended motherfucker imaginable. Like the book of Job. Have you ever read the book of Job? It's fucking amazing. Like Job is this, great guy, does everything he's supposed to do. Everything's cool. And the devil and God are hanging out one day. And the devil's like, the devil says, like, people don't really like you so much, man. You think everybody loves you. And God's like, of course people love me. Look at Job. He's perfect. He does everything I tell him. And the devil's like, yeah, but he only does what you tell him because you've been good to him. Fuck with him a little bit and you'll see what happens. So God, being the fucked up asshole that he is apparently, killed Job's wife and kids.
But that's not it's not meant to be taken literally, though. I mean, that's not a literal. That's a story of the fact that no
word
matter
of God, Duncan. Of course, it's to be taken literally.
You question
what kind of truck driver motherfucker?
This is how cocky Duncan is. Duncan is like, well, I think what Jesus really meant to say.
But I
think God wasn't so good with his words back then.
That's right.
And since I've gone to college in Asheville, North Carolina,
he's got a PhD. I hear.
I've been talking to God. God gave me a PhD. But no, I think that you run into trouble if you start looking at mythology and like as though that's really what it means. Like it's actually
but look at the God that's being depicted there. Whatever the story is, he's jealous, he's capricious, he's cruel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a fucking alcoholic father.
But so if you look at the universe, like right now at this moment, mothers are dying of cancer. Kids are getting exploded by bombs. All of it, dogs are attacking fucking old people in the park.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So this is the story of Job has always struck me more as a kind of like story of how, look, man, you can't understand the infinite. Like when I step on an ant, you know what I mean? To me, it's like, well, I stepped on an ant today. But for whatever that ant's tiny little subjective universe happens to be, I've completely obliterated it. I wiped it out. That ant could never possibly understand the interaction that just happened there, but it was a real interaction. So it seems like the story of Job is more like, what the fuck are you, universe, this incredible thing that I'm surrounded by that seems to very capriciously at random times just destroy people and lives. And like, shit, man, I just heard about this family driving under an underpass and like a concrete block fell out of a truck, landed on the goddamn Range Rover, bam, entire family zapped out of this universe. And to me, Job was that's what the story is like, how can someone be a servant of love, like what you were talking about? How can someone connect to this desire to like give love and happiness and joy into the universe when at any second, guaranteed for any human being, there could be and there will be a tragedy more devastating than anything you could ever imagine, because that's just the way the world works. You're gonna die, your wife, your family, your friends. This is the reality we're in. And how in that kind of swirling vortex of chaos and violence do you find a place where, regardless of all of that, you will still be committed as much as you can to do that thing you did on the road when the fucking car hit you. Instead of getting out and fucking pummeling the guy because your adrenaline's flowing, you ask, hey, are you all right? That's wild. I mean, to you, it might seem like not that big a deal, but if everyone on planet Earth started doing that, whoa, holy shit, it'd be a whole new... I
mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think there's an underlying assertion of the cruelty of the universe that I think is distorted. Okay, I think that, I was watching this nature program a couple of weeks ago, and there was a seal. I may have even talked with you about this last time I was on, but there was like a seal playing in the waves, and then you hear the like doo 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 doo, and you see the shadow coming up, and it's a great white, and it hits the seal, and then the narrator actually says we slowed this down to 1/40th of normal speed, right? And you see the teeth of and the seal's flopping around, and there's blood everywhere, and meanwhile the narrator's saying the struggle for survival is never over, and so I'm watching that and I'm thinking, well, but seals seem kind of happy to me, right? Like, how come they're not more stressed out? Because all the seals I've seen were lying on rocks and chilling and barking and having fun. So I looked up this seal. It was a harbor seal, I think. They live to be about 30. So let's say this one's in its prime. It's 25, okay? Its whole fucking life, it's been lying on warm rocks and eating fresh fish. And then in half a second, it's dead. Okay? And we're looking at that as evidence of the cruelty of nature? What's the ratio there? What's the ratio of good days to bad days in that seal's life? It's pretty fucking good.
True.
And I read this amazing account of being pounced on by a lion by, I think it was... Who searched for Livingston in Africa? I remember Dr. Livingston, I presume. Anyway, that guy, he got pounced on by a lion. And he talks about, he didn't describe it this way, but the endorphins that are released when you're dying, right?
Yeah.
Especially in prey animals. And he was completely detached, completely relaxed, watching this lion, tossing him around.
Yeah. Well, they think there's an evolutionary advantage to both species, both the predator and the prey, in them having this endorphin release when they get got. Because when lions attack like antelopes or when big cats catch deer, the deer kind of give in, man.
Right.
They get jacked, they necks get, but they don't. They kind of like fight a little and then they kind of give in.
Right. But
like bears, like those kind of animals, they don't really give in like that. So they don't, like, if a cat and a mountain lion or a mountain lion rather and a bear go at it, like, the bear isn't just going to give in to the mountain lion.
Right.
If the mountain lion bites the bear in its neck, the bear's going to try to turn and bite him back, and they're going to tooth and claw it out. They're not going to give.
I wonder if he would give in to a dinosaur.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Something where the power is overwhelming, and you feel it. Like, I ain't getting out of this. I wonder if that's what triggers the release.
That's a very good point.
That thing that you're talking about right there is the secret of happiness, which is that fucking release. Because if you really look at it, man, we are in the mouth of a super predator. It's the entire universe, and it's slowly killing us right now.
You're bumming me out.
Why does that bum you out? It's true. It's like, I mean, it does sound like dire, but on one level, it sounds dire. But then the idea is, like, you have to accept the situation that you're in. Yeah. And it is true. We are like being like, we're in the mouth of the most incredible, most powerful, most omnipresent thing ever. Earlier when you were talking about, you smoke DMT, you have this experience of God. You see God, whatever it is. You see this incredible matrix of consciousness. Or when you're theoretically on ayahuasca, I haven't done it, or mushrooms. But the funny thing about it is, right now, minus the psychedelic, you are surrounded by an entire universe of which pieces of the universe are alive and aware of you and are talking to you.
The psychedelic sort of just force feeds you that reality.
Exactly. Or it puts a different coat of paint on top of it. So now it seems unique or new.
Again.
It's novel again. Yeah. But it's just another level of the same experience that's happening, which is that you are surrounded by a living, partially living universe that has as a tendency from time to time to produce life.